You're about to witness mysterious creatures that were caught by locals that remain unidentified. Ranging from footage capturing puzzling cryptids to shocking real-life encounters and enigmatic beings that shocked everyone. Just wait till you see today's subscribers pick. The video will surprise you.
Hello? Oh my god.
One night, a homeowner heard a strange noise coming from his backyard. Curious but cautious, he grabbed his camera and went outside to check. At first, nothing seemed out of place. As he turned to head back inside, his camera accidentally pointed upward, and that's when he froze. On the roof stood a humanoid figure, completely motionless, just staring at him. It didn't move, almost as if it knew it was being recorded. Just moments later, it climbed higher and disappeared from sight. Cathedral Guardian. This scary footage was recorded back in 2020 on top of a cathedral in Nicaragua when a tourist got more than he expected. His heart skipped a beat when standing at the top of the building was a spooky gargoyle. At first, he thought it was just an old statue, but then it opened those massive, creepy wings that scared the man recording. It could be a living gargoyle watching over the cathedral, or an ancient spirit awakened. Perhaps it was there to attend some religious services. Rooftop angels. A resident saw two winged beings on top of their house, and these weren't some ordinary creatures as well. These white entities could be seen walking on two legs, just like a person, so they were definitely humanoid. And there is only one being like that: white, tall, and humanoid with wings. Angels! But as this person was recording, both creatures opened their wings and took off into the sky, one after the other. Mysterious visit.
What you doing?
While playing with her young son, a mother noticed him suddenly stop and stare at their bedroom. His eyes didn't just look, they locked on to something. And then he started talking as if someone was right there. Gently, she asked who he was speaking to. Without hesitation, he replied, "Pawpaw." Her heart sank. Pawpaw was her grandfather, who had passed away just a few months earlier. She slowly approached the room, but it was empty. The boy seemed calm, but the mother couldn't shake the feeling.
What you see?
Haunted house. In Brazil, there's an old abandoned house that locals have avoided for years. Eventually, someone reported the eerie activity to the police, who decided to check it out. As they entered, they were met with a disturbing sight: a single door slamming shut over and over, despite there being no wind. The rest of the house remained silent. As they stood there, trying to make sense of it, a loud, shattering noise came from deeper inside, like glass breaking on its own. Realizing they might not be alone, the officers quickly left. To this day, no one feels safe staying in that place for long. Abandoned encounter. A ghost hunter decided to explore an abandoned building, hoping to catch something eerie on camera. At first, it seemed like just another empty, broken place. But things changed when he reached the second floor. Suddenly, a door slammed shut with force, loud enough to echo through the halls. His heart raced, but he tried to stay calm and continued exploring. Moments later, another door slammed even harder, as if warning him to leave. Yet, the place was completely empty. That was enough for him. He bolted out of there. Pole possession. A woman was walking through a parking lot when something weird caught her eye. One of the light poles was shaking violently, making a loud metallic noise. Confused, she pulled out her phone and recorded the scene. When she uploaded it online, some viewers claimed it was a natural phenomenon called resonance, where wind hits a structure just right to make it vibrate. But others weren't convinced. They argued that the way the pole moved looked unnatural, almost like something invisible was shaking it. Some even speculated that a spirit was messing with the pole. Graveyard spirits. This YouTuber decided to visit an abandoned graveyard in Minnesota, despite warnings from locals. The cemetery belonged to a long-forgotten town. As he filmed near a smashed gravestone, he suddenly felt something touch his shoulder. He spun around. Nothing. Then, clear as day, he heard a voice right next to him, but the place was empty. He moved to another tombstone and took some photos before leaving. Later, while reviewing the footage, he saw two figures near the graves, and they were translucent, like young ghosts standing over their tombstones. Spooky. Gym nightmare. The gym owner was closing up when he noticed something odd, a heavy weight moving on its own. At first, he thought it might be a draft or some kind of vibration, but when it happened again, he knew something wasn't right. Deciding not to stick around, he packed his bag and started to leave. But as he turned his back, something gripped his legs. Terrified, he kicked and finally broke free. He didn't waste a second and left his stuff behind before sprinting out of the gym. Locked inside. A camper was spending the night in his van when things took a weird turn. First, the door creaked open on its own, making him uneasy. Then, loud banging noises started coming from outside. Trapped inside, he didn't dare step out. He could only sit tight, hoping it would stop. The banging got louder, almost as if someone was trying to get in. If it was a person, they would have spoken or revealed themselves, but the footage shows nothing. What do you think? Ghost ship sighting. Back in October 2018, a group of friends was walking near Lake Superior in Marquette, Michigan, when they noticed something eerie. Far out in the water stood a massive gray shape, like a ship, towering above the lake. One of them quickly started recording, and the footage shows a faint, misty outline resembling an old vessel. Some believe it was the legendary SS Bannockburn, often called the Flying Dutchman of Lake Superior, a ghost ship rumored to appear on the lake. To this day, no one has confirmed what they actually saw. Mystery camping figure. Camping in the wild can be peaceful, but not for this camper in Oregon. He had set up a trail cam near his tent to capture wildlife, but when he checked the footage later, he was shaken. There was a figure lurking at the edge of the trees, barely visible, almost like an invisible man. Some who saw the video believe the figure might have been wearing a cloak. Whatever it was, it didn't look normal, and the camper wasn't sticking around to find out. Ghostly encounter. Working night shifts alone can mess with your mind, but this security guard swears he wasn't imagining it. While making his usual rounds, he saw a woman at the entrance, asking about someone named Miss Abigail. Confused but polite, he called dispatch, mentioning the lost woman. That's when reality hit. Dispatch told him Miss Abigail had passed away 2 years ago. Checking the CCTV only made it worse. There was no one on camera. The guard couldn't explain how he saw and spoke to someone who wasn't really there. New employee. Nothing seemed off at first, just another late night at the office, quiet and routine. Then, out of nowhere, a water bottle fell. The guy barely gave it a thought. Maybe it wasn't balanced right. But then, a computer monitor crashed, shattering the silence. Nervously, he got up to inspect the area, but as he bent down to pick up the monitor, his office chair suddenly slid forward and hit his legs. His heart raced. No one else was there. That's when it hit him. Something unseen didn't want him there. He didn't wait to find out why. Makeup mayhem. Sometimes a simple TikTok video can turn into something way more disturbing. One TikToker was recording herself doing makeup when the unexpected happened. As she focused on her face, the wardrobe door behind her slowly creaked open. Before she could even react, it suddenly slammed shut with a loud bang. Her heart pounded as the reality sank in. Something unseen was in the house, and it didn't seem friendly. Not taking any chances, she decided to leave immediately before things escalated. Toy trouble. When working late at night, strange things can happen, but this one was downright chilling. One worker was deeply focused on his task when something caught his eye. Through the door window, he noticed a small teddy bear moving on its own, almost as if it was alive. To make it worse, eerie music played from nowhere, even though he was completely alone. Trying to rationalize it, he moved closer, but the bear stopped. Then, as he hesitated, the music kicked in again, and the bear moved once more. That's when he knew it wasn't a coincidence. Cursed house.
When I bought the house, we started working on it, and then my son was working on the ceiling. The boards come flying off at him and hurt him, and I've been scratched in there.
Willow's Weep in Cayuga, Indiana, is known as the most evil house in North America. It has a dark history full of tragedy and eerie events. In 2019, an investigator and his partner were called to check it out. Right away, things went downhill. The owner's son got hit by falling boards, and the owner herself ended up with scratches down her back. Doors slammed on their own, and loud banging echoed from the floor. The house's layout itself is disturbing, shaped like an upside-down cross. The investigator was convinced this place wasn't just haunted, it was designed to trap evil.
We really built to attract evil spirits? For Brenda Johnson, Dave Spinks, and Haley Sharp, the answer is a very disturbing.
Invisible Girl. At El Milagro Market in Ventanilla, Peru, a night guard was doing his usual rounds when he suddenly stopped and seemed to comfort someone. He later explained that he saw a little girl crying and told her to wait for her mom. But here's the creepy part. The footage shows he was completely alone. He had no clue at the time, thinking it was just a lost child. Only after watching the footage did he realize there was no one there. Midnight crying. Camping alone in the woods sounds peaceful, unless you're this guy in Indonesia. Just past midnight, he was jolted awake by strange, chilling cries. Then came the scratching sounds, followed by objects moving outside his tent. But the real terror hit when he saw her, a woman, seemingly floating above his tent. In a blink, she was gone. He didn't sleep a second more that night. Mirror shadow. A man was in the hospital, recovering, when he kept insisting to his girlfriend that he saw a small girl in his room. He asked her to check a video he recorded. The clip showed him sitting in a chair, with the mirror behind him reflecting something eerie. In the reflection, there were 3 shadows: himself, his girlfriend, and a small girl standing right next to her. The realization hit them both hard. Was she the one that saved him, or was she once on that bed? Haunted tour. During an evening house viewing, a real estate agent decided to film a quick promo video. As she started recording, strange noises began echoing. Knocks, creaks, and sudden slams. A door slowly creaked open behind her, but she just brushed it off, thinking it was the house settling. It wasn't until she watched the footage later that her stomach dropped. In one of the paintings, a face appeared, clear as day. It wasn't a trick or glitch, just a face, staring right at her. She knew the house was haunted, but still sold it later. Phantom wheelchair.
No.
Late-night security shifts are creepy. While doing his rounds at an empty hospital wing, he noticed something odd. A wheelchair parked in the hallway. It hadn't been there before. Confused, he took out his phone to record. He backed away, unable to explain what he just saw. There was no one else around. Realizing that staying wasn't an option, he ran away as fast as possible.
No.
Haunted doll. Returning home late should feel like a relief, but for one homeowner, it turned into a nightmare. As she stepped inside, something instantly felt off. A doll was standing upright in the center of the room. At first, she brushed it off as just a weird coincidence, maybe someone playing a prank. But as she took a closer look, her stomach dropped. Dolls don't stand on their own. Before she could react, the doll began to move, shifting slightly as if guided by invisible hands. Seeing this really scared her. Shadowed home.
Tap it on the window out. There.
Yeah.
Top window.
Some places just don't feel right, and this family quickly learned why. One evening, they were winding down for the night when they noticed something odd. A dark figure moving inside the abandoned house next door. The place had been empty for years, windows cracked and paint peeling. Yet there it was, a shadowy silhouette appearing in one window, then suddenly reappearing on the second floor. It seemed to shift from room to room, almost like it was taunting them. The realization hit hard. Whatever was in that house wasn't human.
Bottom window. Bottom window.
Unholy disturbance. Late one night, police officers in Mexico found themselves drawn to a local church after frantic reports of strange noises. They expected to find vandals or intruders, but what they saw left them speechless. The massive wooden doors were rattling, as if something powerful was trapped behind them. No one was visible, and the church itself was deathly quiet. They recorded the eerie scene, but nothing seemed to explain the force shaking the doors. Locals whispered about a dark presence sealed within the old building, warning that whatever was inside didn't want to be contained. Leaping action. You know that feeling when something's just wrong? One homeowner didn't have time to feel it before things went sideways. Security footage captured her walking around the house when suddenly her hair lifted like someone was yanking it. Before she could even react, an invisible force pushed her to the ground. Stunned, she got up, trying to make sense of what just happened. The eerie vibe hung heavy in the room, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something dark was watching. It was like the house itself wanted her gone. Some say it's the work of a spirit that doesn't appreciate new company. Red-eyed stranger. Children can sometimes see things adults can't, and that's exactly what happened in Thailand. One evening, a girl was playing when she suddenly pointed to the garage, chatting as if someone was there. Her parents, confused, asked who she was talking to. Calmly, she replied, "An old woman." But the unsettling part came next. She added, "Her eyes were red." Fear crept over the family as they realized something sinister might be lurking. Taking no chances, they decided to leave the house, worried that staying would invite something they couldn't handle. Shadowy people seen.
Went this way. I see you. Get away!
One camper learned the hard way that being alone in the woods can turn terrifying. At night, strange voices jolted him awake. Stepping out of his tent, he noticed shadowy figures lurking just beyond the firelight. Instinct told him to leave, but fear made him freeze. Eventually, he mustered the courage to pack up and sneak away.
They're just standing there. What do you want? Leave me alone!
Strange visitors. Some nights just feel off, and for one homeowner, this was one of them. As he was getting ready for bed, something outside his window caught his eye. 3 figures standing eerily still. 2 men and a woman, with one of them holding a torch. What made it weird was how one of the men moved, almost like he was glitching in place, while the others remained completely still. Just when it couldn't get any stranger, another figure joined them, blending into the darkness. The whole scene felt unnatural, almost like the figures weren't human at all. Ghosts, spirits, whatever they were, they didn't belong there. Woman gets dragged. In a video posted online in March 2024, a woman learned that the hard way. She was working inside when something unseen suddenly grabbed her, yanking her toward a room. She struggled, desperately trying to break free, and when she finally did, she bolted out without looking back. It wasn't just fear, it was sheer terror. Later, she swore that place wasn't just haunted, it was something far worse. Close call. While making his usual rounds, a security guard spotted something chilling, a dark figure standing by the desk. Just as quickly as it appeared, it vanished into thin air. Visibly shaken, he spoke into his radio, his voice trembling as he described what he saw. You can hear the fear as he hopes the camera picked it up too. One thing was clear, he wasn't prepared for this. Whatever that figure was, it didn't belong there, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't alone. Aisle Entity.
No, mommy.
Finishing a late-night shift should have been routine for a pilot in Mexico City, but this night took a turn. Around 3 a.m., he heard something odd, doors slamming on a parked plane. Following protocol, he cautiously boarded the empty aircraft, flashlight in hand. Walking down the dark aisle, he suddenly froze. A shadowy figure peeked out from a corner. His heart pounded as reality sank in. No one was supposed to be there. Terrified, he bolted out of the plane, knowing he'd just encountered something unexplainable.
No, mommy.
Hotel apparition. Night shifts at old hotels can be eerie, but this one was unforgettable. Two workers were finishing up when they heard strange voices coming from a closed-off section. Deciding to stick together, they cautiously moved closer. Suddenly, one of them glanced back and froze. A ghostly figure of a woman was standing right behind her friend. They didn't stick around to investigate. The fear was instant and undeniable. They didn't just leave the hotel that night, they quit their jobs for good. Haunted office. In Manchester's Castlefield area, one office proved to be the creepiest in the most creepiest way. A night CCTV clip from 2012 still makes rounds online. At first, everything seems normal, just a quiet office at night. Then, a chair suddenly slides across the room on its own. Seconds later, a computer flickers on, even though no one is there. People quickly labeled it Manchester's most haunted office block, and even an expert who watched the footage later confirmed it definitely looked haunted. Phantom passenger. When you're working late at an airport, the last thing you expect to see is a ghost. Workers renovating a closed-off section reported seeing a little girl wandering the upper floors. Thinking someone might have snuck in, they called an officer to check it out. The officer searched the empty area, but found nothing until he reviewed the footage. That's when it got creepy. A young girl's face appeared behind one of the locked doors. The area had been sealed for days, with no way in or out. Some believe it was a prank, but others are convinced the camera caught something otherworldly. Vanishing patient. Hospitals are eerie enough at night, but this one took it to another level. At the Finocchieto Sanatorium Hospital in Buenos Aires, a security guard thought he was helping a patient around 3:26 a.m. He got up, spoke to someone, and even offered a wheelchair. But when they checked the CCTV later, no one was there. Even stranger, the hospital door opened by itself nearly 28 times that night. Investigators didn't find any record of a patient entering, and the guard didn't log anything either. Whether it was a glitch or something supernatural, the guard was so shaken that he asked for time off. Mysterious old lady. Sometimes the night shift comes with more than just quiet hallways. A guard patrolling alone claimed to see an old lady standing outside. In the footage, you can see him waving at someone in the dark, but no one appears on camera. He walks over, opens the door, and says he was helping a lost old lady. He even waits by the elevator with her, but suddenly, fear takes over. The guard bolts out of the building, clearly shaken. Those who watch the video believe he met something evil that night. Whoever she was is still a mystery. Piano mystery.
Johnny, someone just played the piano.
Jenny McCarthy didn't think her living room could get any creepier, until it did. She had just stepped out for a moment when a few piano notes rang through the house. Startled, she rushed back, thinking her husband was playing a prank, but the room was empty. Later, the CCTV footage confirmed it. No one had entered. No one touched the piano. Yet, the notes were unmistakable. Jenny couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was in the house. A spirit playing the keys? Maybe. Child apparition. A homeowner was just minding his own business in the living room when something eerie happened. A small child appeared and ran behind him, but he didn't even notice. Moments later, she moved around the area again, just as quietly. It wasn't until later, when reviewing footage, that the homeowner realized the unsettling truth. The child wasn't real. She was a spirit, moving through the house as if it was still hers. Shaken, the man knew he couldn't stay there anymore. Morgue chase. Working the night shift at a hospital morgue is already unnerving, but this experience took it to a whole new level. A worker trying to stay focused began hearing strange noises coming from the landing. He brushed it off at first until he stepped out and saw a child standing alone in the hallway. As soon as their eyes met, the child darted into the darker part of the building. Chasing after the figure, he found nothing when he reached the spot. Completely spooked, he knew one thing for sure. He wasn't hanging around to find out who that was.
Uy. Hueputa, hueputa, hueputa.
Haunted room. Sometimes, even seasoned security staff get freaked out. One hospital team had been receiving reports of weird voices coming from a supposedly empty room. Finally, one night, they decided to investigate. They filmed the entire thing, but what they captured was beyond explanation. A dark shape suddenly appeared out of nowhere, and the temperature in the room plummeted. Frozen with shock, the staff couldn't believe what they'd just seen. Doll's curse. Birthdays are supposed to be fun, but this one took a sinister twist. She was really excited for her new doll. Then it moved. While posing for pictures, the doll's head, which had been completely still, suddenly tilted towards her. Frozen in fear, she dropped the doll immediately, realizing something was seriously wrong. That moment shattered the excitement, leaving her convinced that the doll was cursed. She never touched it again, certain that whatever was inside wasn't just plastic and fabric. Wrong neighbor.
What was that?
A neighbor had always been curious about the strange noises coming from an abandoned building next door. One day, he finally gathered the courage to investigate, hoping to put his mind at ease. As he wandered through the dusty rooms, he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Then, in one of the dimly lit corners, he noticed something that made his blood run cold. A dark shadow standing completely still. This gave him a serious fright, so he quite literally leapt out of the building.
Oh, it's cold right here. I don't think it's happy we're here.
Ghostly game. What started as a friendly game of football quickly turned into a nightmare. A group of boys was kicking around a ball late at night in their hostel when something truly bizarre happened. In the middle of their game, a tiny figure suddenly appeared behind one of them, moving to the other side of the room in a split second. At first, they thought their eyes were playing tricks, but when they all realized they had seen the same thing, panic set in. They bolted out of there, too terrified to look back. Though they only saw it for a brief moment, they were convinced it wasn't human. Carnival mystery. A night at the carnival turned eerie when a simple game left the girls questioning reality. 3 friends were enjoying themselves, playing a fun game and recording the moment. Later, when they watched the footage back, something was off. There were 4 people in the frame instead of 3. One of the girls looked different, her face slightly distorted and unsettling, as if something was wrong with her features. As they replayed the clip, trying to figure it out, the extra person just vanished, like she had never been there at all. Chills ran down their spines as they realized they might have captured a spirit briefly blending into their group. To this day, no one can explain what really happened. Subscriber pick of the day. The main video comes from an unknown location that shows a house that had strange, unidentified noises coming from its roof. The homeowner decided to see what the ruckus was all about, and the footage picked up a strange-looking creature that was staring directly at him. It had a white head with a light brownish face and dark, beady eyes. It was right on top of his house, and seeing it scared him so, he rushed back inside because he didn't know what to do, and quite frankly, there wasn't anything he could do. Have you faced such a creature or an experience like this? Share below, and thank you for watching.
Wait a minute.